What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me in this review of 90 Day The Single Life, Season 4, The Tell-All, Part 1. So you know how the cast, once they get their hair and makeup done, they gather backstage before going on stage with Sean. And sometimes when they're backstage, you know, something interesting might or might not happen. So in this situation, the only interesting thing that I really took note of was when Tyree told the group that Natalie wants it to be like ancient Rome, where Josh and Mike are fighting over her. Yeah, I think Natalie likes that. I think Natalie wants the men battling it out for her. And I think Veronica also kind of felt some kind of way when Tim and Jamal were fighting with one another over her as well. Not over her as in they both want her, but just to have two men, like, you know, Tim fighting to maintain his relationship with Veronica, Jamal wanting Tim out of their relationship. I think Veronica kind of took pleasure in that as well. But anyway, so now let's get to the actual tell-all, where they're all sitting on stage with Sean. Sean does what Sean does. She makes her rounds in the beginning of the tell-all, where she goes down the row and asks everybody to give a bit of a tiny little update of where they're at now. So Chantel says that she is still with Giannis. Veronica says that she is not with Jamal. Tim and Louisa have not progressed. Surprise there. I think it takes Tim like a million years to progress in his relationships with his girlfriends. He moves extremely slow, and yeah, he moves slow. I was going to add more to it, but I'm going to keep it to myself. But yeah, he does move really slow. John is still living in Texas with Megan. Debbie says that her and Ruben are still in contact, but there's some questions that she needs to ask Ruben because she found out some new information about him, I think she said. And Tyree says that he still keeps in contact with Raina. Natalie says that Josh asked her for another chance, but she needs to make sure that this time he's actually really serious about being in a relationship with her. I don't know why anybody would take anybody back that broke up with them, that made them cry the way that she cried. I don't know if that crying that she did was genuine or if it was just performative. I have no idea. But if you're going to break up with me on camera, I'm not going to come back to you, but who knows? So let's start off with Veronica and Tim. So they show the clip of when Tim and Jamal got into that big fight, and Jamal said that Tim was not Father of the Year. So they show that whole entire clip, and Jamal says that, you know, the tequila got the best of him, and that's why he was acting so out of pocket. Jamal said that Veronica talks a lot of crap about Tim. So he doesn't believe that Veronica and Tim are this close or this chummy with one another because Veronica was talking a lot of trash about Tim. And Veronica was like, yeah, of course, he knows that. I talk trash in front of him. I talk trash behind his back. That's just the kind of relationship that we have. So now I was a little bit confused because I thought Jamal, his issue was how close Veronica and Tim were. He didn't like that. He didn't like the fact that Tim was so involved in his relationship because Veronica kept consulting with Tim about her relationship with Jamal. So if Veronica was talking trash about Tim, wouldn't that make Jamal have a little bit more confidence in his relationship with Veronica if, you know, she was portraying as if she couldn't stand him? So I don't know why that bothered him, especially when, you know, he says that their relationship is fake, that Veronica and Tim's closeness, their friendliness is fake. So doesn't that work in your favor if you truly believe that they don't like each other? Jamal says that Tim and Veronica talk crap about each other, and Louisa was also on stage. So they had Tim and Veronica on one side, and then across from them, they had Jamal and Louisa. So, and by the way, before Jamal and Louisa came on stage, they were in the back getting ready for their names to be called. And Jamal was talking to Louisa, like kneeling in front of her because she was sitting down. He was kneeling in front of her and he was like, girl, we got this. I got you. I got your back. Don't worry. We got this. Like, you know, they had some kind of a bond as well. Like it was going to be like some type of a duel between Veronica and Tim and Jamal and Louisa. And I thought Louisa had problems speaking English, but on stage, her English was fluent. So Louisa vouches for Jamal when Jamal said that, they talk crap about each other. Tim and Veronica, they talk crap about each other. And Louisa chimed in and she was like, yes, because Tim talks to me. He says a lot of bad things to me about Veronica. Louisa says that their friendship is fake as well. And while they were all going back and forth, Jamal had called Tim sweetheart. And Tim took offense to that. It's like, that sound that a record makes when it scratches. So they're all going back and forth, arguing. And then as soon as Jamal said, called him sweetheart, you could hear that the scratch of the record. And Tim was like, excuse me? And Tim says, do you want, well, how do I phrase this politely? Do you want to fornicate with me? He says to Jamal, you called me sweetheart. Do you want me? Do you want to sleep with me? And Louisa steps in and tells Tim, oh, you wish. You wish. Like I said, her English was impeccable. So then Sean asks Veronica, are you going to defend him, in this fight that he's in between Jamal and Louisa? And Veronica says that her and Tim's relationship has changed a lot in the past 5 years and that they've kind of drifted apart. When, where, and how? When did that happen? Because every time that I see Veronica and Tim, they bicker because on the Pillow Talk episodes, they bicker a lot. But I think it's because Tim just doesn't get along with anybody. I think Tim is sort of contentious with everyone, but I haven't seen any part of their relationship change. I feel like they're just as close as they've ever been. So I don't know what she means that they have drifted apart within the past 5 years. If they have drifted apart in the past 5 years, then why in the hell was Tim an issue in your relationship with Jamal if you and Tim were not that close? Then they talk about the breakup between Veronica and Jamal. Evidently, according to Veronica, he broke up with her via text. Jamal completely denies it. So Veronica says that he was supposed to come to South Carolina to spend time with her, but he told her that he couldn't because his mom was going through something. So then Veronica said that she had offered to go to San Diego to help out Jamal and his mom with whatever the hell was going on with his mom. And he said that I don't know what he said in response to that, but evidently he wanted his space. He didn't want her to come to San Diego. He didn't want to go to South Carolina. And then, he ended it with the peace sign, like in the text message, ended it with the peace sign. And that really got her riled up. And even Tim was like, yeah, if you're going to end it with the peace sign, that just shows how little he thought of you. And, Tim feels like he was right all along about Jamal. So there was a lot of back and forth about this whole him coming to South Carolina, her wanting to go to San Diego to help him out with whatever he was going through with his mom. A lot of back and forth with that. And then the funny thing is, throughout all of that, Jamal brings up the fact that Veronica basically disrespected him because he found out that Veronica, and I think this was through Louisa, he had found out that Veronica was calling him trash, calling him broke, calling him a deadbeat, saying that he didn't have any money. And I guess this was coming from Louisa via Tim. And so Jamal was like, you really spin this to make me look like a deadbeat, to make me look like I'm broke, that I'm living with my mom. When in all actuality, I was living in New York by myself in one of the most expensive cities in the world. I was making it on my own in New York. I moved to California to help my mother out with her house. But then you want to spin it to like I'm this broke, unemployed guy with no money living with their mommy. So Louisa said that Veronica had said that Jamal was trash, and Veronica denied that she ever called Jamal trash. She said that that Louisa was lying. She never said those things about him living with his mom and him not having any money and being broke and calling him trash. She says, I've never called a human being trash in my life. And Louisa says, yes, you have. I've heard you. Jamal was like, I've heard you call Tim trash. So, quit faking it. You do call people trash. It is a word that is really much in your vocabulary. So because these two were like ganging up on her, and I don't think Tim was saying much, Veronica got really upset and defeated. She said a few choice words to Luisa in Spanish because it was Luisa that was giving all this information to Jamal. So she said some few choice words to Luisa. I think she said something like, you know, you're dead to me. She gets up, she walks away, and she tells them all to go to hell. Then she comes back and sits back down and apologizes to Tim about leaving him, about abandoning him. Okay, I don't know if she did this to really piss off Jamal. I don't know why she did that. I think Tim can handle his own. And so Jamal finally admits that he's a runner. I think when things get too complicated for him in a relationship, or when he loses interest, or whatever the situation may be, he says that he ends up running away instead of just, you know, dealing with the issue. And he says that that's his habit, to run. And he did apologize to Veronica for doing that. Like, yes, I ghosted you, or I ran away. And Veronica accepted his apology. So they are over and done, it seems like, which to me, it's not surprising at all, because I never really saw Veronica and Jamal making it in any kind of way. I think that Veronica is, I think she's very, very bossy and controlling. I think that's how Veronica is. I think Jamal is a player. I don't think Jamal has any business being in a serious relationship with anybody. I think he's somewhat of a player. I think he goes around. When I say a player, I don't necessarily mean like he's with multiple women at the same time. I think that Jamal, when he's with someone, he knows already going in, it's not going to lead to a commitment. And I don't think he lets the women know that. I think he's here for a good time, not for a long time. I think he just wants to have his fun, get his kicks, and move on. And he doesn't let them know that. So the women are thinking that they're going to have something long term, because Veronica was talking about him meeting her daughter and him moving to Charlotte and all this stuff. And her and Tim were really getting into it, because she was really fighting hard for this relationship with Jamal, when Tim was trying to tell her ain't nothing going on with Jamal, period. And Tim was right. Jamal lost interest and he's moving on to the next. He's definitely, to me, he just comes off as like a really fly by night, I'm only here temporary. Nothing about that relationship ever gave me any kind of inclination this was really going somewhere. So I don't know how Veronica, you know, how she missed all the signs. I don't know. Moving on from there, we have Tyree. Okay, so Tyree, I don't know if he's seen like the butt of many jokes on this show. Something about Tyree. I wish so bad that Tyree would like really truly stand up for himself. I think that the problem with Tyree, I think, is basically, I think it's his weight. I think that if he lost weight, he would have more confidence. I really do think that the problem with Tyree, I think it's his weight is what's holding him back. I think that's what it is. He's cute, he's adorable, he's lovable, he's all of that. You know, when people are constantly referring to you as the teddy bear, oh, you're so huggable, or you're so, yeah, they see you as the safe, fat, funny guy. And I think I think maybe if he lost weight, he might have more confidence. I think that might be the real issue with Tyree, what's really holding him back. And the reason why he was doing a lot of this online dating and not really putting himself out there. And maybe the reason why he doesn't work outside the home. You know, he's a caretaker for his mom, which to me, his mom seemed really with it. But anyway, so it starts off with him being a virgin. And everybody, you know, giving their opinions on that, which I'm like, why is this anybody's business? Like, this man, not him being a virgin at the age of 30 something years old. Why is this a topic of conversation? Why is this a topic of conversation? So it all boils down to him being labeled as, you know, Tyree the Virgin. John, Tim, you know, the guys on stage, they were like, you know, you need to just go ahead and get it over with. Just go ahead and do it to see what it's like and just get it over with. Whereas the women were like, no, don't corrupt him. He's innocent. He'll do it at the right time with the right person. Leave him alone. Stop teasing him. For whatever reason, TLC or 90 Day Fiancé producers decide to bring out, and I know that they're going to be bringing out cast members from past seasons to do Lord knows what. They bring Mr. 2500 himself, Sarper, to give advice to Tyree. I wouldn't allow Sarper to give advice to the most experienced pimp in history. Okay, if he were to tell a pimp, a professional pimp from the streets, if he were to give him any advice, I would tell that pimp, don't listen to him. Do not listen to him. So he says that Tyree's biggest problem is the giggling, because he giggles a lot. It's, you know, like an uncomfortable, what do they call it? It's like he does that whenever he's nervous or awkward or uncomfortable. You know, he'll giggle. And Sarper says, well, that's the problem. He giggles too much. And so no woman can take him seriously because he giggles too much. Makes no sense. I don't know why they would bring Sarper. Why don't you bring a man who either is in a successful relationship or a successful, long-lasting marriage? Okay, because they do exist, who have been on this show. Why are y'all bringing Sarper? I mean, they wanted to do this contrast so bad, where you have the teddy bear virgin versus this dirtbag, Mr. 2500, with this nasty, diseased self. They wanted him to go and, you know, to go head to head with Tyree, or to give. Why would you do that? Like, that makes no. This is not someone that we look up to. This is not someone that we admire. This is not someone that needs to be giving advice to anything, to a dog. Nothing. We need him to go away. The fact that he's on our television sets, you know, we all need to go get an STD test. Lord knows what we contracted just from watching him on TV. So Debbie says that Sarper is acting like a dog and teaching his doggish ways to poor innocent Tyree. And it was just dumb. And another thing, you know, I think Tyree, I don't think his weight is a problem. I think it's a problem. It might be a problem for him, and why he's so, you know, like in himself, and so shy and whatever. And I would never tell Tyree, oh, you need to lose weight. No, I think that maybe it's a problem for him, but regardless, okay, let's put that aside. Tyree has a great personality. You know, he's a great, you know, conversationalist. He's got good conversation. He's cute. He's funny. I think a lot of women feel very comfortable around him. You know, they don't feel like they're going to catch something like they would with Sarper. And they feel comfortable around him. They feel safe around him. He has manners. He's polite. He's chivalrous. I don't think because he's putting himself out there, he's going to find somebody at any moment. You know, he's going to be in a relationship at any moment. I don't know what the hell Sarper had to add to any conversation. I don't know why they brought him. It was absolutely bizarre to me. It was so bizarre to me. I think that Tyree thinks that his weight might be holding him back. That's what I'm thinking. But he's getting more confidence, and he's putting himself out there, and he's doing his thing. And yeah, Sarper, go away permanently. Chantel. So when it comes to Chantel, the first thing that they start talking about is, I think it was Tim. He says, you know, I heard that some very well-known celebrities slid into your DMs. And Chantel remained mum. And I know she didn't. She spoke. She said that it was Waka Flocka. She said that, yeah, her and Waka Flocka were talking or exchanging messages or something like that, but she really downplayed it. And then Tim says, I heard that it was Drake. And that's when she went mum. She refused to speak on that. She says, I'm not going to confirm or deny anything, and we're just going to leave it at that. Girl, what happened? Inquiring minds want to know, girl, what the hell happened? Did Drake slid into your DMs? And what the hell happened that is making you not want to talk? Did you sign an NDA? Did you sign an NDA? And if you did, why? Why did Drake make you sign an NDA? What really went down? And when does that NDA expire? Because I need to write it down the day that it expires so I can go looking for you on the internet to see if you're going to speak on what really went down between you and Drake. That is really, really interesting. Chantel says that she wants a well-endowed Spartan warrior. How old are you, Chantel? That to me sounds just like a little girl saying, "Oh, when I grow up, I want to marry Prince Charming." That's what it sounds. That's what it's giving me when you say that you want a well-endowed Spartan warrior. Are you serious? She said that she deserves it. I guess she is serious. She says that she deserves it because she's been through so much with Pedro that she deserves a well-endowed Spartan warrior. Are there still Spartans out there? Like, what is going on? Are there really Spartans out there? I don't know much about Greek culture. I know that they did exist in ancient times. They're like Roman warriors, right? Oh, anyways, moving on. I don't know. Debbie says that Pedro really broke her trust. So a well-hung Greek is not going to fix that. She is going to, dig a little bit deeper than that to figure out exactly what needs to be done for her to regain her trust. Chantel is in her 30s. She's a professional. I think she's a nurse, if I can remember correctly. But when it comes to relationships and men, something about her is like very naive and very little girl-like. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know how someone like Pedro was able to run circles around Chantel. Something about her is extremely naive. Like, she acts like a 16-year-old girl when it comes to men. She doesn't approach her relationships or treat them like a grown woman. She approaches them like, "Oh, I have a crush on him and I think he's cute and I think we're going to make pretty babies and we're going to be married happily ever after." It's like, that's not how relationships work, Chantel. The cast then start talking about how she was giving the wrong impression of herself when she was in Greece, with the clothes that she wore and how she presented herself, because she was wearing these, really tight short dresses, which is fine. She's a young woman. She's got a nice body. I don't see a problem with that. But Debbie, her issue was she had broadcasted that she wasn't wearing any underwear on, I think it was like her first night in Greece, and they were out at this bar. I don't know who she told it to. I thought she was talking to her friends when she said she wasn't wearing underwear. I don't really remember that scene. But Debbie did not like it at all that she had broadcasted that she wasn't wearing any underwear, that it wasn't very ladylike, and what is she going to tell her future children, and that it just really gave the wrong impression. And then Tim also, and John, they were also like, "Yeah, Chantel, you're really looking like, like you were easy or whatever." And Tim told her, "You're a really beautiful woman. You have a very pretty face. You don't need to lead with your body. You don't need to try to attract men by wearing the tightest, skimpiest thing that you can find. You're attractive enough where men would come to you regardless." And, women back in the day, I'm not going to sit here and judge her for what she was wearing because, that's just not allowed. But women back in the day would still attract men, even though they were covered up. Like, people were still dating and getting married and having babies during the times when women were very much covered up. And I think there were a few men who were attracted to women when the norm was to be covered up all the time from your, neck all the way down to your ankles. There has to be some kind of an attraction. I don't know. I wasn't living during that time, but I'm just assuming that you don't have to constantly put it all out there to attract men. I think that, if you're an attractive woman, how you carry yourself, I think makes you attractive. How you present yourself, how you speak, how you walk, your personality, all of this goes into making you attractive. You don't have to have the big boobs and the big butt and the barely there clothes to be considered attractive. So I don't know. To me, I feel like if she did not announce but anyways, the situation is this. So she ends up meeting Giannis. She says that her and Giannis are still together. I did not get the impression that Giannis was just using her for her body. She's so sweet. Chantel is so sweet, but I think she also struggles with confidence. I think she also struggles with confidence, and I think that's a lot to do with what Pedro did to her. I think for a long, long time, Chantel kind of saw herself as the kind of woman that no man could ever deny, no man could ever cheat on. And then you got this, this chump Pedro who came and did just that. They got a divorce. He cheated on her. He really rejected her, and I think that really did something to her self-confidence. And I feel like she's so desperate for male attention that she feels like the only way that she can get it as quickly as possible is by, wearing the tight clothes and putting her body out there, because she's just so desperate to be validated again as an attractive woman, because she feels broken. She probably feels unattractive because her husband didn't want her. So she's like, well, let me just hurry up and do whatever I can to get as much attention as I can as quickly as I can. But then you attract the wrong kind of guy. And I think that she wants a man to want to marry her and propose to her so that she can feel the way she felt when Pedro did all those things, when they first met back in the day. She's a beautiful woman who probably had a man like Pedro make her feel so ugly. And I don't think she's ever felt ugly before, but I think Pedro makes her feel like she is ugly. And she's just trying to hurry up and build her self-esteem, but she's building it in a really cheap way that's not going to help her self-esteem at all, period. And she's wounded. She's traumatized. She's wounded. And I think the last thing that she needed was to try to jump into a relationship with Giannis. When she went to Greece, it should have just been that, a trip with her friends to have fun, and that's it. But when they were at the Snail Festival and she felt rejected by Giannis because he was ignoring her, that right there showed that she was putting too much into this. And for her, this was more than just a fun vacation. This is her trying to get her sexy back and trying to get her groove back. And when he was ignoring her, it did something to her. And she just isn't like, right now, she just isn't like strong enough or confident enough to not give a damn, because I would have left. If I was like, oh, if you're having a better time hanging out with your homeboys and talking to them, I'm out of here, because I don't want to be eating snails anyway. And I would have gathered my friends and we would have went somewhere else and did something else and had a better time somewhere else. But instead she moped, and then her friend didn't make it any better by saying, girl, he's ignoring you. He's not even talking to you. That didn't make it any better either. She has not healed from Pedro. She needs to take time with Chantel. She needs to take time with loving Chantel again and understanding that Pedro is not the end all and be all of men, and that his opinion of her and whatever he did to her has nothing to do with her. It's his own little boy immature issues. Anyway, that's all I got. I'm going on way too long. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video, like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.